Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement, presented by 3Chi and Barstool Sports. I am your host, Robbie Fox. With me is my co-host, Clem, and we are here for the My Mom's Basement Obi-Wan Kenobi official, unofficial preview show. I don't think we could just call it the official preview show because, George Lucas is going to sue somebody, in the words of Chris Rock and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. But it is the unofficial, official, unofficial, but still official for our podcast, but unofficial for Star Wars, Obi-Wan preview show.
Don't piss off the mouse.
Don't piss off the mouse.
Like, George Lucas has some power. The mouse, that is the emperor. That is the head of the Sith org chart at any given time right now. So, yeah, we're not going to get on their bad side here, but we're going to learn a little bit about... All right, so as always... All right, green light. That's good, right? That means we're recording?
Yeah, green light's good, yeah.
Why the hell are
I know, it should be a red light.
Should be red light,
but
yeah.
it's like you go on red. It's
there
like
we
that
go.
universe,
We're in a different multiverse. I like that. There's two kinds of Star Wars fans in this universe. There are the diehards, and then there are the casuals. Robbie fits the diehards. I fits the casuals. So Robbie,
you're a little more than casual.
Yes, I'm. It's like fast casual or whatever it is. I'm not fast food. I'm fast casual. If it was
the
a chain
Five Guys
restaurant.
version, like
yeah, exactly. So and then the casuals, people who don't follow even as much as I do, people more like me who know their stuff but haven't watched every single piece of Star Wars content, and then the Bob Foxes who has ink on his body from a galaxy far, far away.
That's right. So we're going to talk about the show to start, talk about Obi-Wan a little bit, and then I've written down like Obi-Wan's life leading up to this point. We all know once he gets to the Death Star and Vader kills him and then he becomes Force Ghost. All that, I feel like even the casuals know all that.
I hope so. If they don't know that, spoiler alert. Like,
For
he
real,
disappears
yeah.
and shit. It's fucking crazy.
Vader
It's a
stomps
big
on the
deal.
robe. But like the movies, we're going to gloss over basically, and I'll talk a lot about what he does in the Clone Wars leading up to this, because that is a lot of character development stuff. There's a lot of stuff that you didn't know about his past in the Clone Wars. There's a lot of interesting stuff in that as well.
And again, so we don't have to relive all the prequels. No offense, prequel Stan, prequel Fran, whoever it may be. Well, I'll try to avoid the slander. It's going to be a lot of the stuff that didn't make the big screen, but made the little screen, whatever you want to call it.
I also told Fran recently about prequel Stan. I told her, like, because she was posting about Obi-Wan, actually, and saying, oh, this is a prequel girl's dream, and she's excited for it. And I was like, we got this guy, prequel Stan, and we have a joke that you are prequel Stan. It's prequel Fran. And she's like, I love that. She's very in on it.
Fran's burner. She's like, shit, they found out. That's what she was thinking in her head the entire time. And speaking of talking about this, how about the basement getting a shout out on the rundown the other day by the big man?
You especially, you were like, what's that name of that show?
We gave Robbie Fox props. It's like he does it all himself.
I gave you props. What show does he do?
My Mom's Basement.
That's right. Subscribe to My Mom's
And
Basement.
he does all. And then we had the thing, well, you're like,
Someone tweeted, like, the fact that you got that in war times was hysterical, and I agree. It was like, what is that? Shout out on that. And Eddie gave me a shout out on the Dave Portnoy show yesterday.
Did he?
Yeah, Eddie was like, well, Robbie Fox said it's all his own stuff. And Dave, sitting in this very seat, was like, I love Robbie. And I was like, oh, that's. I mean, you don't want your name to get mentioned on the Dave Portnoy show, but you pretty much couldn't get a better mention than that.
If it's going to happen, let it be in a glowing light, and then they move on to another subject very quickly. But again, we need to keep the basement lights on. YouTube, subscribe, thumbs up, comment.
That really helps.
Facebook, Jesus Christ. I'm not an old man. Trust me, I don't go on Facebook. Podcasts, Apple, Spotify, review, 5-star, yada, yada, yada. We won't bug you guys anymore. But, Dave Portnoy approved.
These are dire times,
Can we
it's
put a
almost
seal?
like the Order 66 of Barstool
Yes.
podcasts. It's like there's a purge going on.
Yep.
We're one of the survivors that's trying to be like Obi-Wan. Like, we don't even want to come across anyone's radar right now. We just want to keep doing us,
Yeah, so like my Podfather's guy, he died, but there's another version of me that somehow is still alive in the basement. We got to believe still going strong. So I'll tell you, it's like I'm realizing.
You as the Emperor, like Rise of Skywalker version in the basement. Like, I'm like, I got to find a Force dyad to get into this guy's body.
It's fun times at Barstool. We need, though, like, it could be like the Stool and Stars. It's just the Dave Portnoy stamp of approval.
The stamp of approval.
That's what
on
the
basement. We
Mom's
did get
Basement
that.
have. Yeah.
We for sure got that.
Yep.
We're going to, maybe next episode, we'll have a stamp of approval. The Dave Portnoy approved. Let's talk a little bit about Obi-Wan, Clem. Obi-Wan's home planet. Did you know it's named after Jon Stewart?
What the heck does that mean? His home planet?
His home planet is called Stew John. And it's named after Jon Stewart because he was once interviewing George Lucas and was like, these names are so ridiculous. They're crazy. You could come up with any name, Stew John, whatever. And George was like, yeah, let's make that Obi-Wan's home planet. He comes from Stew John. And they have kept that canon ever since. They've never gone back on it, never changed it. So shout out Jon Stewart, an actual Star Wars fan out there. A lot of late night hosts also have that in common. I know Stephen Colbert is a massive Star Wars fan. He actually hosted the Rise of Skywalker panel when I went to Celebration the last time because he had an early screening ticket to see the first Star Wars. He like called up some local radio contest, see it a week early, and he was like, none of my friends even cared about it. Like, whatever, like they saw the trailer, they didn't care, and he was like, it changed my absolute life seeing that movie.
The funniest people of their industry are Star Wars fans, which I guess that's why Dave likes us so much, because we're so funny. So that makes sense. That is like the epitome of a fun fact right there. That is a very fun fact. Stu John. Now, do we have a Solo-esque moment where we learn why he's named Obi-Wan? Like,
I hope not.
He's the firstborn, so Wan, Obi, and like
Kathleen
there's nothing
Kennedy
like that,
pissed
right?
a lot of Solo fans off this week. Did you see that?
Oh, I saw it.
She had a quote where she said, I feel like we learned something from Solo where, you know, it's tough to recast those legacy characters and expect audiences to just buy into it and love it. I thought the quote was fairly accurate. And people were pretty pissed online. Oh, you got to be. Look at Ewan McGregor. You recast him from Obi-Wan and whatever. I agree. But, like, with Solo, that was a lesson they learned of maybe we don't want to see, like, a young Luke Skywalker movie with a new actor, without Mark Hamill involved. Like, stuff like that.
Like, whatever she said could be true. It's like that person died of, you know, had the flu or pneumonia. They also had a gunshot to the head, stabbed through the heart 100 times.
That wasn't the reason
lit on
Solo
fire.
wasn't successful.
Yeah, there's a million reasons it wasn't successful.
And also look at Lando Calrissian in that movie. Donald Glover. Knocked it out of the park. He was awesome. So it's like the recast, not the issue, but it was, I think, one of the issues with that movie. Because personally, I went into it thinking, I don't want to see anyone but Harrison Ford play Han Solo. And I left it going, yeah, I don't really want to see anyone but Harrison Ford play Han Solo. Even though I think it's a decent movie, I'm not like a Solo hater by any means. I hate that one scene where they name him Solo. But I don't know. I wasn't so mad at Kathleen Kennedy for saying that.
Star Wars fans are mad. That's breaking, right?
Fact. He was born in 57 BBY. So what that means for people that don't know, in the Star Wars timeline, BBY means before the Battle of Yavin, which is the Death Star run in A New Hope. That moment where the Death Star explodes is basically where all time is based on. That's BC and AD of Star Wars. So he was born 57 years before that. He was 57 when he died. Rest in peace, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
A rough-looking 57, by the way.
A real rough-looking 57. And I don't even think Alec Guinness was 57 when he filmed it. I think he was like younger but looked super old.
Oh, okay. So, you know, I can kind of live with that if that's what he looks like at the age of 57 or
I want to
even
say I'm right about it. I might be wrong about that, but
and shout out, I actually knew BBY. I'm kind of proud. Like, I knew that. That's like a video game thing. I think a lot.
So you see it on Wikipedia all the time. That's just how years work in Star Wars. Everything is ABY or BBY. And this series, Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney Plus, takes place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, about 9 years before A New Hope. So this would be 9 BBY. Luke Skywalker is about 10 years old, and Obi-Wan is being hunted by an Inquisitor named Reva. I hope I'm saying that right. Reva. It's just R-E-V-A, played by Moses Ingram. She was in The Queen's Gambit. I don't know if you watched The Queen's Gambit.
Too fancy.
Very good show, and she was very good in it. So I think that's pretty good casting there. And let's get into Obi-Wan's life a little bit. Discovered as Force sensitive on Stu John right away. Immediately put into the Jedi Temple. So he trained under Jedi Master Yoda, became a Padawan under Qui-Gon when he was old enough. And then this is interesting. Right before we get into the Phantom Menace, he went on a mission with Qui-Gon, and this was covered in the Extended Universe stuff, where he met someone named Duchess Satine on Mandalore. She was kind of the ruler of Mandalore, didn't believe in violence, and ultimately fell in love with her. This is Obi-Wan's Padme, basically. And I think it basically gave him a little more leniency with Anakin, because I think Obi-Wan kind of knew Anakin, Padme had a thing, right? Gave him a little leniency because he understood it. He said he would have left the Jedi Order had she said the word. So that's like a huge part about Obi-Wan that's not even in the movies. He had this massive love interest named Satine.
Our boy Obi-Wan, he felt the warm embrace of a woman. So he kind of knows what's up. So he's, Anakin, you want to go wet? Well, do your thing, babe. Okay,
ultimately, though, he was like, you know what? I'm going to stick to this Jedi stuff with Qui-Gon. And his whole life, he kind of maybe not regretted that, but always thought what could have been with Satine. And Satine is Bo-Katan's sister.
And that's I didn't even think about that. We're dealing with the Mandalore side of things. We're dealing with. Did she wear the helmet? Did she have a helmet?
No, she had more of a headdress like Queen Amidala.
And her name is Duchess?
Duchess Satine.
I always think of the Duchess from Wolf of Wall Street, Margot Robbie.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
all-time
top
character.
5.
Yeah. She is a blonde. I could
She's a
see
blonde
Margot
as
Robbie
well?
playing her.
Okay.
Yeah, actually.
I mean, and just like dating someone named the Duchess, you just feel a little fancy yourself, right?
Yeah.
And, and she's in the Queen's Gambit. Oh no, that's the
different. That's the Inquisitor. That's the evil person hunting Obi-Wan.
And I just have to ask about the Inquisitors. Force sensitive? What's their deal? Because they kind of look like they might be force sensitive. I feel like they have like lightsaber looking things and Vader-esque equipment, but I feel like they can't all be force sensitive.
I think it varies Inquisitor to Inquisitor.
Okay. And by the way, Alec Guinness, 63 for New Hope. So what was he,
so he
57
was
in the movie?
so he was a little older actually.
Yeah, a little bit. Not like that's not egregious.
Around the same age.
My
though,
parents are like 67, which like I can't believe my parents are 67. That they're getting old. They don't listen to this, so thank God.
They probably don't look like Alec Guinness looked though. I feel like he looked like he was 80.
They look younger. That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah,
So
I
the
know,
fact
yeah.
that they look as young as they are, I'm like, Obi-Wan looked old as dirt, and that's one of my questions. Is like, are they going to explain why he looks so fucking old in Episode 4? But
The son,
I guess they
the
don't have to.
Tatooine son.
That's
The twin sons? Does that age you?
Oh,
worse?
100%.
Gotta, right?
Think about like you ever go to like a beach town or something, you just see that old salty dog that's been out.
Yeah.
I think of the guy that originated the Saturdays are for the boys quote. You know what I mean?
Oh
When
yeah,
Fight
I think
says-
of like Hulk Hogan. You look at his skin color and he looks like a hot dog some days. But we get right into Phantom Menace at this point. Everyone knows the story of Phantom Menace. If you're listening to this, I think they get sent to negotiate with the senators. They go to Naboo, meet Anakin Skywalker.
A lot of tax stuff. A lot of tax stuff.
A lot of
going on.
taxation. And then the big part of this, though, obviously, Qui-Gon is killed by Darth Maul. Obi-Wan kills Darth Maul, or so he thinks, chops him in half, goes down that big pipe. And then Qui-Gon's dying wish is for Obi-Wan to train Anakin. So right away in the comics, in the storyline, right away Obi-Wan is struggling with training Anakin. He's like, this kid, he's got temptations. He feels like all of Anakin's shortcomings fall on him. He feels like I'm too young to take on this Padawan and whatnot, and constantly feels like he's basically too inexperienced. Bond kind of starts forming, but Anakin very quickly rebels and pushes back, and kind of like the Anakin we saw in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, and listen, we've talked about this a bunch. I'm a dad. I've known my kids since the day they were born. If I just got a kid just dropped on my lap and was like, "Hey, like raise this kid," I'm bad enough at it as is, and that's with a partner. He lost basically his mentor, and then it all falls on him. You could tell Anakin,
It happened to him twice in his life too, because it happened to him with Anakin's son then, Luke.
Yeah, true.
And it's just like this kid's on you. You better protect him.
So it's like already a kind of half-baked kind of way of getting Anakin to Obi-Wan. Plus Obi-Wan, like we said, with the Duchess or Margot Robbie there, you know, dropping the thing on him. He's fucking not ready to really commit here. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He's probably thinking like, if I just leave this fucking nerdy kid on Tatooine, go back to Mandalore, have myself a fucking hell of a time, raise some children, raise a family. So. And then, you know, there's a lot of stuff with Anakin, I'm sure. But, like, what's Anakin? 6, 7 Phantom Menace, right? So it's
probably
like
8, maybe 9 in that
kids
range.
Are just the worst. I love my children. I love them all.
And
I don't
with
have
his
podfathers now.
yippee.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I have to kind of, like, vent about my kids. So, oh, man, God bless you. So I'll tell you right now, like, coming from this side of it, and the you know, the Jedi Order is kind of, they're kind of just fucked, too. It's like if you want to train this kid, Anakin's Obi-Wan's hands are tied, and I wonder if he's going to be more of like I don't want to say tragic character, but just like
I think
he's doing the
will
best
be.
he can.
I think he will be. I read an article in Vanity Fair this week. They had an awesome cover, kind of about the future. This is where the actual Solo quote came from as well. And he said a big part of him coming back to do this project when it was originally going to be a movie was that he wanted to visit Obi-Wan, who's usually optimistic, who always cracks a joke, a witty joke to get out of battle in the prequels. He wanted to come to Obi-Wan as like a broken man, as a man who lost his religion.
You are my brother, Anakin.
That man, exactly. And I think that's fascinating as well, because we haven't really seen Ewan McGregor play that version of Obi-Wan.
And I said this at the end of the book of Boba Fett. I am putting all my eggs in the Obi-Wan basket where if this is good, I'll remember 2022 fondly for Star Wars content. If it's bad, I'll have a bad taste in my mouth based on every part of the book of Boba Fett that didn't have the book of Mandalorian involved. And then whatever this is. So a lot's riding on this in my mind. But
I will say, though, I didn't realize how soon Andor is. Andor is almost a safety net for this show. Andor is the end of this summer.
Really?
Yeah. So even if I think this is going to be good. I don't want to put it out there even in the universe that even if this is bad. But even if it is, Andor, I think, is I tweeted, kind of an ace in the hole for Lucasfilm. This is the only show that they went back-to-back filming seasons on, and I think they're filming like seasons 2 and 3 at the same time. If they have that much faith in it, I think this is going to be a damn good show.
I fucking hope so.
That first scene with Cassian Andor in Rogue One, too, where he kills his informant in the alleyway was so badass. I want more of that, Cassian Andor.
Yes, agreed.
And apparently K2 is not in the first season, which makes me nervous. I'm like, oh, but
like
K2 is like, other than R2, maybe my favorite droid in Star Wars.
Yeah, 100%.
He's awesome. This leads us to Attack of the Clones. Obi-Wan discovers the clone army. Jango Fett, captured, interrogated by Count Dooku in this movie, faces Count Dooku at the end of it with Anakin. And then we get into the Clone Wars. This is where the majority, I feel like, of Obi-Wan's on-screen time probably comes from in the Star Wars universe when you consider just the pure amount of episodes that there were. And he's one of the main characters. It's Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, and Anakin, the whole series.
Okay. And just think about how much more weight would have been on that series and in Attack of the Clones if he kills Anakin's best friend, the goofy Jar Jar, who is revealed as Darth Jar Jar. Doesn't it really put this on a whole new plane now? I'm telling you.
What if Jar Jar's in this series?
And is he Darthing? Is
he
Darthing
on
on
if he's
people?
Darthing? Yeah.
Darthing on people? I need a Darth.
That would be even if they somehow included him. I know there's some canon book where Jar Jar was basically like a clown, and the kids on the street were like throwing stuff at him, and like he wasn't respected at all because he gave away the power to the Chancellor and all that.
Yep.
If you did something like that, and he was like, I don't know, going crazy, he puts on a dark robe and he's like, Misa, Sith Lord. Like some kind of like in joke about that, the Darth Jar Jar theory, that would be kind of funny.
And for anyone that didn't listen to our Michael Aldrin interview yet, he was kind of like tickling
future Star Wars writer, yeah.
Future Star Wars writer saying that hey, maybe it's just a long con and you're going to see the Darth Jar Jar finally come to fruition. I don't even know where the timeline is of his movie, but if it could happen.
I don't think any information's about that movie's out yet. I think that's the third. It's going to be like the third movie from now for Star Wars because they kind of clarified that schedule too. Taika Waititi's is next, which I didn't realize. That will be the next Star Wars movie in theaters. After that, it'll be Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron movie, and then after that, I assume will be the Kevin Feige, Michael Waldron one.
And is that even on the calendar? Not even close.
No. Nope. And still writing it, they said.
And where's Rian Johnson's trilogy at?
They said that's on the back burner.
Where is it? Where's Rian Johnson?
Unfortunately, on the back burner.
Oh, the back burner.
I was looking forward to that trilogy.
We're gonna put emphasis on burn. I hope it's just burning right now.
Oh, come on.
I hope our guy Waldron, he's rolling whatever fucking drugs he does to make these fucking crazy scripts, and he's burning that and smoking out of that fucking script.
Knives Out? Come on.
I do love Knives Out.
What if you made a Star Wars Knives Out? What if you made a Star Wars Knives Out? You take all the weirdest characters. You take Bossk, you take Dengar, and you put them all in a house like that. And it's like someone killed someone. I watched Clue for the first time ever last night. Have you seen Clue?
Years ago.
Very good movie. Yep. Very good. Tim Curry, if people haven't seen that, I recommend it.
They filmed all the different endings, so everyone, is
They put 3 different endings out in theaters. So you would go see it, and everyone's getting a different ending. They put, when you watch it on streaming, one after the other. So you get to watch all 3. And, like, it was very cool seeing the differences, seeing, like, some dialogue stays exactly the same. It was fascinating. There's one ending that's definitely the best, though.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah.
There's one ending where, like, spoiler alert for a movie that came out a few decades ago, the person you think is gay the whole time, who's just, like, startled, kind of a stereotypical gay guy, is, like, an FBI agent and very straight. He's like, I'm going to go home and have sex with my wife. It's a good line.
If there is a Knives Out Star Wars movie done, I know who the killer's going to be. Max Rebo.
Oh, come on, not
motherfucker,
Max.
You sus son of a bitch. I'm on to you, you elephant mother.
You'll have to be in the movie. So you'll be like, you weren't even at the cantina when it blew up in Book of Boba Fett. Like, you're the one putting it together at the end.
Man, that was my girl, too. I loved
Jennifer
her.
Beals. I just watched they did a gallery on that, and Jennifer Beals was in it. Have you seen the gallery Star Wars episodes where they do the behind the scenes? It's like an hour on the season.
No, I haven't seen it.
They're worth a watch.
Yeah?
They're really good,
right, cool.
They do them for Marvel shows as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So in the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan leads countless missions. He battles General Grievous a couple times. He battles someone named Desajj Ventress, who comes from Dathomir, Darth Maul's planet.
Okay.
She kind of goes back and forth, hero, villain, hero, villain.
Where is Obi-Wan in the command ranks of, like, the Jedi? Like, if he was, like,
pretty high up.
If he was a Barstool guy, where is he? What are we talking with? He's not Dave.
He's not Dave.
He's not Dan.
He's probably not Dan at this point, but he's probably Kevin. He's with the soldiers constantly.
And Heidelberg is his Anakin.
yeah, I guess so. And Ahsoka's Jackie. I guess they're like helping make her that master. But he's with the clones constantly and grows like a very big bond with the clones. Commander Cody, you see, become one of his best friends in this, and it makes, Revenge of the Sith even more heartache. You get more heartache in Revenge of the Sith when you see Cody turn on him for Order 66. I think Cody coming after him in this show would be awesome, actually.
It's so fucking hard to take a guy named Commander Cody serious. So that's like the one thing from like the outside looking in. Cody is just the
Cody's
dude,
like a
man.
dude perfect name,
Yeah, exactly.
Eventually, one of my favorite storylines in all of the Clone Wars is Obi-Wan kind of going after Death Watch. Death Watch is the group of radical Mandalorians that took the Mandalorian in that flashback sequence. Yep. And Death Watch and Satine were always kind of at odds. Death Watch basically formed because they disagreed with Satine's peaceful ways, and every time that they wanted to interview or interrogate a member of Death Watch, Obi-Wan would capture them, and then they would kill themselves. They would throw themselves off balconies, like dark stuff like that. Satine eventually like witnessed one, made her like kind of go through shit because she doesn't like violence at all.
She watched Death of Death Watch.
Watch the Death of Death Watch. Yes.
And that's a cool ass name. Like, I love the Flag Smashers. Death Watch. It's like, you have my attention
and
now, Death
they're
Watch.
like crazy radical. They're about it. This is where Favreau also comes into the Clone Wars. Okay. He did the voice of one of the Vizslas. Vizslas were the ones that were Mandalorian and Jedi. I think pre-Vizsla, or one of the earliest Vizsla is the creator of the Darksaber.
Okay.
So the Darksaber comes in here. Obi-Wan battles the Vizslas. They have the Darksaber at the time. Satine is captured in the midst of this mission, and the attacker who captures her, has her hostage, is almost trying to like seven Obi-Wan. He's trying to bait Obi-Wan into killing him, into doing something. And Obi-Wan's like about to do it. He's like, this is my fucking girl. Like, Obi-Wan's kind of about to snap, and right before he does, Anakin comes up from behind and kills the attacker for him.
Little preview of he has the darkness in him, right?
Exactly.
To just make things happen.
Exactly. So this is definitely, for the people that are interested in the Mandalorian, they like the backstory and stuff, the Death Watch arcs in the Clone Wars are some of the best stuff they ever did, in my opinion.
So you're not only getting some Obi-Wan backstory, you're getting a whole bunch of
Darksaber, all that stuff,
and everything. And again, you don't need that. You don't need to see that, obviously, to have enjoyed Mandalorian, as we all did. But it makes it that much better.
Oh,
right?
definitely, definitely. Yeah. You get the little pieces of lore. I think it makes everything better because you get, even if it's one moment per episode where you point at the screen, and you're like, "That's from the Clone Wars." Like that's awesome to me.
And how much of the Clone Wars cartoons makes people other than Fran, who loves the prequels and her Twitter account?
Oh yeah.
How does that even make the prequels better? All this stuff?
Undoubtedly. The Clone Wars absolutely makes the prequels better. Gives everything more context. It does like the Rogue One thing where people were like, why did the Death Star just have a hole in it? And Rogue One's like, hey, we're a whole movie explaining that. Every episode is almost one of those where they're like, hey, we'll explain something about the prequels that you didn't realize. And it makes the taxation a little more easy to understand and all that shit. And there's a lot of good, like, the different factions and the people that lead the separatists and all of the different factions. It feels big. It feels like a war. It feels almost Thrones-like, where it's like you have house so-and-so, you have house so-and-so, like that kind of thing. I really would, especially if you have kids and the kids like Star Wars, if they like the cartoon, it's definitely one of the cartoons that you could throw on and also enjoy it with them.
Mm-hmm. And that is the secret to parenthood, is to do stuff with the kids that you don't hate and they like.
Yeah. So this is one of the biggest mind fucks in all of the Clone Wars. There is a moment where the father brings Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka to a different plane, different universe called Mortis. It's, I think, a planet called Mortis. On Mortis, there are 3 inhabitants: the Father, the Son, and the Daughter. This is almost like the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit.
We're getting religious here, Bob.
Yes. The Son represents the dark side of the Force and controls the dark side of the Force. He's like a being, like almost like a god. The Daughter represents the light side, and the Father brings balance between his son and his daughter. He brings them there to basically say to Anakin, like, I'm going to show you your future. Anakin sees I'll become Darth Vader. He sees a Darth Vader smoke cloud. And I want you to take my spot, keeping balance between my son and my daughter when I die. Mm-hmm. Anakin turns it down. They wipe his brain and all that. While they're there, though, Obi-Wan talks to Qui-Gon as a Force Ghost for the very first time. Talks to him a little bit, voices his doubts about the imbalance in Anakin. Eventually, they all leave Mortis. That's kind of left up to that. But that Mortis, it's another thing. It explains where the Force kind of comes from in Star Wars, like the overarching. It's too much for some people. Some people are like, once you get the Mortis and all that shit, they're out on that. I think it's pretty cool the way they did it.
Is it better than the midichlorians and all that kind of stuff?
It is. It is. Because it's more spiritual in a way. I'm not like a spiritual religious guy.
Yeah.
But like the Jedi kind of is a religion, so I kind of like that they did it in that way. It's well done. In my opinion.
Did Qui-Gon as a Force Ghost, did he say stuff like, he will learn patience and like,
yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. And Liam Neeson does the voice too.
Oh, nice.
So it's like,
nice.
I also think if Liam was willing to come back for the Clone Wars, Rebels, stuff like that, he's got to be willing to come back for this. Even if it's just lending some voice notes, come on.
They fucking nailed the casting on this shit too. I mean, you can say what you want about how well the movies came out, but the actors.
Look at Ewan McGregor now. He's starting to look like Alec Guinness. Like, he's obviously not as old, but you could see, like, Alec Guinness in his face almost.
I almost said something that I'm not going to say it. There was one actress that was in the movie that did a good job, but there's a curse going on with her currently.
You can bring up the Portman curse?
The Portman curse.
Get out of here. You know, she's going to break the Portman curse in July. Right?
I hope so.
Thor Love and Thunder.
I hope
She's
so.
breaking the Portman curse. Darth Maul returns in the Clone Wars. This is another one of the biggest aspects of the Clone Wars. They kind of like do Darth Maul right. They do him justice.
So when I heard that, I knew that had happened. And that was one of my biggest gripes with Phantom Menace. I'm like, you guys made the coolest fucking villain. I still remember the first time you see Darth Maul and the double lightsaber on the commercial. Yeah. Duel of the Fates playing in the background. You're like, oh my God, this is going to be the greatest movie of the greatest trilogy of all time. I had fucking like 7 different toys. They had different like serial numbers that meant that they like had the little intricacies because everyone was trying to get like the next rare Star Wars that a Jeff D. Lowe would buy at a convention 30 years later for way too much money. And I was so excited for it. And then they just chopped his ass in half and he died. So when he comes back, I mean, I guess it's probably not really like a. It's
controversial at first too.
A lot of people were not. I was wondering what the reception was of it.
People weren't down with it at first because they give him spider legs at first too.
They're a little goofy looking.
Goofy looking, mechanical. He's a half spider. The way they explain his survival, I dug. They basically said he had so much hatred for Obi-Wan that it kept him alive through the dark side of the Force.
That's fucking Grudge Dave shit.
Kind of Grudge Dave shit. Like, they show him becoming he's becoming like a savage, like becoming like almost like an animal more than he is human while he's down there just with his hatred. His horns are growing like super long while he's down there.
He's more spider than man now.
Kind of. He's helped by his brother, Savage Opress, who it's spelled savage. But he's got a brother who's basically a jacked version of him, and instead of like the red skin, he's got gold skin. Really cool looking. And they're a cool team when they're standing side by side. It's like Maul and his brother. And they eventually give him those like mechanical legs that you see in Solo, where it's just 2 legs that are normal looking. That's a lot better. It was kind of a wait and see thing where it's like, let it play out. And when he gets the normal legs, it's way better than the spider legs.
I was going to say Savage Opress doesn't hold a candle to Darth Maul, but I guess if you're named Savage, that's pretty cool. And he's a gold, cool. And he's basically gold where the red is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's jacked. He's like bigger than Maul, much bigger than Maul. Yeah.
Now is Maul kind of the like, even though he's not as strong, I feel like Maul's still the fucking
he's running the show.
Yeah. Okay.
He's still running the show. So he goes and battles Obi-Wan a few times during this series, and they get into it. He's obviously like completely focused on revenge over Obi-Wan. That's all he cares about in life at this point, and eventually takes over Mandalore. He gets the Darksaber. He is the wielder of the Darksaber, Darth Maul.
Yep.
And baits Obi-Wan into coming there on a rescue mission for Satine. He has Satine hostage.
Oh, shit.
Knows it's Obi-Wan's former love. Obi-Wan sneaks in, puts on his own Mandalore outfit. He's got like a maroon Mandalorian helmet and everything. Brings him right to the throne and kills her in front of him. He lifts her up with the Force, sticks the Darksaber out, and just pulls her into it. It's a brutal death scene. It's very, very sad. She dies in Obi-Wan's arms, and her final words are, "I loved you always. I always will."
Well, I just got goosebumps. That's fucked up. That's goosebumps about a cartoon I've never even seen before.
Yeah.
That's some fucking.
And it was like Obi-Wan his whole life, was kind of like, would we have worked out? Did she love me?
Yeah.
And that was the confirmation he got as she was dying in his arms.
Dude, if you find out someone in high school had a crush on you that you like, that's bad enough. If you fucking love your life who says she loves you as she's dying
the
in your
ruler
arms,
of Mandalore.
The guy who killed your fucking buddy too, and he's 2 for 2 now, just wiping people out of your life. Damn, man. So Maul versus Obi-Wan is like, that might be the biggest rival in the history of this fucking...
And there were rumors that Maul was going to be involved in this, and I think Hollywood Reporter, Vanity Fair, or Variety, one of those like trade sites, put out a story that he was cut from the show. And then I saw a bunch of people from Lucasfilm and other people say, like, no, he was definitely never in the show, because they wanted to let that story play out over the cartoon, because it already did. Maul eventually gets killed for good in Rebels, which comes after this show would even take place. He goes to Tatooine, and they have like a 1-second lightsaber battle. It's actually kind of cool how they did it, where it's like Obi-Wan just hits one move on him and kills him. And Maul kind of dies in his arms, just like, he's like, all right.
I was gonna say, let's just fucking say the Maul's in it. Can we like roll with that? Like, there's nothing like we're not held to journalistic standards.
No, we could say he's in it.
We should just say he's in it. Listen to the podcast. If you subscribe, rate 5 stars. We'll
give us the credit if we're right, and just forget about it if we're wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Forget we ever said
like,
anything.
No one's gonna remember these two fucking idiots from Barstool Sports. Like, it's fine. We can just say
Imagine that Maul and Vader in the same series. I mean, those are two of the biggest baddies of all time.
I wish
and not baddie in the way like, you know, oh, she's a baddie.
Yeah, baddie, good baddie. Not a good baddie, a bad baddie.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about Maul here.
Yeah.
I kind of like Maul too. Like, that's like his entrance song is Duel of Fates. He just comes in and then he leaves and it kind of like goes out with him. I kind of dig that. So the amount of fucking hatred that Obi-Wan must have for this fucking guy now too has to be second to none. I mean, fucking Anakin was like a big old baby compared to that shit in Sith.
Yeah. And Sith comes very shortly after all of this, so it's like he just got like heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak.
At least I have Anakin, my best friend.
At least even if I don't have Anakin, I have Cody, right? Oh no, you don't have Cody. Oh, but you have Satine, right? No, he's got nobody. Obi-Wan's got nobody. This is a man lost in this show. We're gonna see a sad Obi-Wan. So listen,
more like Nobi-Wan.
Oh, nice.
Roast. Look at that face.
That guy.
So bad.
He roasted him worse than Uncle Owen, where he's like, oh, train him like you trained his father.
You can see that fucking smoldering from space.
Speaking of this big title fight, though, of Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul, let's tell the people about Game Time. If you wanted to buy tickets to Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul or Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader 2, you go on over to Game Time, because they cracked the code on how to score deals on last-minute tickets. This is something that everyone knows. Even the Rangers, we're coming back to MSG soon. If you wait till the last second, ticket prices will drop on secondary ticket sites. Game Time is now the people you have to go to check that out, because they've basically mastered it where they're going to get you the best deals, and they make it possible with their app. It's the biggest last-minute price drops you can find. Go to their app now. You get concerts, baseball games, anything going down this summer. I'll be attending a ton of concerts. I'm going to a San Diego Padres game next month for the first time. I'm going to San Diego.
Nice.
Little vacation, little long weekend. And the best part, you get $20 off your first purchase with the Game Time app if you go to the account tab, create a login, and then redeem the code MMB for My Mom's Basement. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Game Time really is a great app. A ton of people here use it.
The seats they have, too, are tremendous, and the prices are unreal. And, I mean, hey, Blue Shirt Bob, let's get you to the Garden here.
I know, yeah.
Let's get Blue. I love Blue Shirt Bob. Basically, all sports Bob, because it'll be like, you'll be talking, and I'll be talking one day. I'll be like, oh, I have to watch the Giants play Washington. He's like, yeah, I know him. Oh, yeah, Bob, you're a Washington fan. I love that. And you're a Yanks guy, too. You know your stuff. So, Rangers are number one in all that.
Rangers number one without a shadow of a doubt. Yankees close after them. And then Knicks and Washington are just kind of...
Oh, I didn't even know the Knicks were even close to Washington.
Yeah.
So we got to get Bob and, of course, just Glenny balls just for the visual of it. We'll get you to a Rangers game, and yeah, Game Time is like apparently
I've been to many a Ranger game with Glenny balls. He's always a great time. Yeah. Okay, so at this point, after Satine is killed in front of Obi-Wan, they imprison him, and at this point he meets Bo-Katan for the first time. She actually saves him from Maul's imprisonment on Mandalore, helps him escape, and he says to her, he's like, oh, you're Bo-Katan's, your Satine's sister, I'm sorry. And he kind of like, I think in that moment kind of breaks the news to her.
And is she like he's dead, she's dead because of you?
Not really. She just kind of makes a face, just like, damn, like my sister's dead. She's very much like she is in The Mandalorian, where she's like kind of like independent woman, like
she probably had it coming. She was kind of
has
a
a poker
face,
up. You know? Yeah, she kind of has a poker face where she doesn't let it get to her. She doesn't show it getting to her. And then we kick into episode 3. They rescue Palpatine at the beginning, defeat Dooku, defeat Grievous, Order 66. One of his best friends, Cody, shoots him, presumed dead. He meets back up with Yoda. He's like, at least everything's not so bad, right? It's not like Anakin's fucking killing kids or something, toddlers. Turns out he is killing toddlers, in fact, on the Jedi Temple.
The younglings?
Yeah. And he has that fight with Anakin on Mustafar. He leaves him for dead, or so he thought, and then decides with Bail Organa after Padme's death that they should split up the kids for their safety. He brings Luke to Tatooine, watches over him from afar, and Leia goes over to Alderaan. I always think about this as well, where it's like, let's give one kid the greatest life of luxury of all time, and let's put the other one on Tatooine.
It's definitely a dated reference now, but it's like twins where you have Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
Like Luke definitely got the shortest of the short end of a stick in the history of the world. Princess Leia and fucking sandworm Luke in fucking Tatooine, the desert.
Yeah. So that's pretty much
A moisture farm. He worked at a moisture farm
farmer.
in the desert. Do you know how fucking
with
much
twin sons
life
overlooking
must
him?
suck?
Yeah.
With a dickhead uncle and an aunt that must have hated that mother. And we're gonna see a lot of just how shitty Uncle Owen is in this
You think
series.
so?
I think we're gonna see. I think he's gonna be a real prick, and he's doing it probably to like protect Luke. Or
Yeah, he's got
thing.
Luke's best interest in mind.
And then, like I said, the only thing worse than kind of getting a kid dropped on your lap, like Obi-Wan did, is getting a kid dropped on your lap that is the child of the most evil man in the universe, and you're just scared the entire time he's going to come and get him.
Space Hitler's kid. Yeah.
Space Hitler's kid, yeah. It's like, oh, I got Adolf Jr. now. Sweet. I have to keep him away from there, or else he's going to either kill him or they'll combine and do even worse than blowing up planets at a time.
So that's pretty much the story up to this point. A few things I noted about the canon stories about Obi-Wan in this time and the time between episode 3 and 4. He always wanted to train Luke, always got pushback from Uncle Owen, kind of like you trained his dad. He always said,
That was a good zing.
Yeah,
that
it was a good zing. He is super depressed, kind of throws the lightsaber away for a few years. What brings him back is Luke, actually. So he's constantly being like a protector from afar, right? And he's constantly overlooking them.
How do you know this? Did you watch the first episode?
No, this is from some of the comics from this era.
Oh, okay.
There are comic books from this era. So he's a protector from afar. He once protected the family from getting robbed by one of Jabba's gangs.
Okay.
Jabba had his like gangs of people just go around robbing water from people. So Obi-Wan fucking protects the family from getting their water robbed, and then one night feels something. He's like, something's off with the Force. It's because Luke went missing. Luke ran away in the middle of the night to steal water back from Jabba's gang. So it's like he was trying to get water from them. They confront him. I think Obi-Wan comes in, saves him, but he realizes like Luke's bravery inspired him to be a Jedi again almost. He inspired him to pick up the lightsaber again. So he's taken jobs protecting Jawas from Tusken Raiders, worked for the Jawas for a little bit on Tatooine, and famously, we talked about this on the Book of Boba Fett recap, had a run-in with Black Krrsantan.
That's
I would
right.
not be surprised to see in this show. He had a run-in with him when he saw Krrsantan attacking Uncle Owen, and Obi-Wan and Luke kind of teamed up to help him. Like, I think Owen got thrown off a cliff. Obi-Wan, like, used the Force to help him, and then Luke, like, swooped in with a ship and basically picked him up. But there have been some meetings between Obi-Wan and Luke prior to A New Hope. We know that because he's like, oh, old Ben? Like, you're talking about old Ben?
Yeah. I gotta hope Beru threw him off that cliff. She's like, I've had enough of this louse. Get him out of my life.
Yeah, but, man, there's a lot to speculate about, I guess, based on Obi-Wan's entire life up to this point. What are we going to get? Are we going to get flashback sequences? Are we going to see him and Anakin during the Clone Wars? Is that why you bring Hayden back? Are we going to see him, Anakin, and Ahsoka during the Clone Wars? I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I really just want to see Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor, in his Clone Wars outfit, which was basically his Jedi robes with a little bit of clone armor over it. He had like
some
boots
clone
of
armor
clone
and shit,
armor.
huh?
Yeah, let me find a picture. Let me show you how badass he looked during the Clone Wars.
I'm trying to figure out just how much Vader we're gonna get. Is it gonna be a fight? Is it gonna be a couple scenes? Is it gonna be because I'm in for Vader.
Look at Clone Wars Obi-Wan here.
All right,
with the armor over him, over the robes.
I dig it, yeah.
Pretty badass, huh?
Yeah.
Anakin also had some armor. It wasn't white armor, but it was like darker armor that went over him. And I would like to see both of them in those, like, basically, I would say, iconic outfits to a lot of Star Wars fans, at least fans of the Clone Wars. All right, we got to talk to the people a little bit about HelloFresh. HelloFresh delivers pre-portioned ingredients right to your door. You get the convenience without skipping on quality. Skip out on the grocery store trip. Don't waste your money on excess food or anything like that. They'll give you the baggie. It's all the food you need to make a great meal. The best meals in town, basically.
It's like it's all pre-portioned out. Your little blue milk, you can pour that in.
Yeah, little blue milk. Yeah, your little like Taki sticks that Yoda had on Dagobah, his little taquitos or whatever those were.
Oh, I love when he bites that granola bar so much.
Adorable. It's 72% cheaper than dining at a restaurant. You won't even be able to tell because it is restaurant quality, and it's a lot cheaper than even grocery store shopping. So that's money back in your pocket to give to Disney and give to Star Wars for Obi-Wan and whatnot. Their chefs know how to diversify your dinner menu with seasonal spring recipes like sweet heat shrimp tempura bowls, garden spinach ricotta ravioli, and one-pot creamy lemon dill chicken soup. Oh, my God. All that stuff sounds so good. There's 50 weekly options every week, and you could skip weeks when you need to. You could change your delivery date. You could change in sides now. You could kind of customize your meal. Saves you a lot of time, saves you a lot of money. And if you go to HelloFresh.com/Robbie16, ROBBIE16, use the code Robbie16. You'll get 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. That's enough free meals to feed the younglings.
Order 16.
Order 16 instead of order 66. Interesting. Like that, right? I think there's a robot chicken bit or something where like Palpatine accidentally calls in order 67, and they're like, "Really? You want to do that one?" He's like, "Yes." And then he realizes it's not the right one. He's like, "No, never mind. Order 66." All right, now back into the show.
Let's eat. And the other question is just how much they're going to explain on the show leading up to it for the idiots like me, and then the people who know even less than me. Hey, this is how we got here. They're gonna you have to touch on the tragedy that is Obi-Wan's life with his girl
Satine. Like I would like nightmares or something like that. Like so you show the viewers that haven't seen it how tragic his life has been.
Just don't put him in a fucking back to tank. I swear to God, if we go back to a flashback to tank, I'm just turning it off. I'm out right now. I'm saying it on the podcast.
Out if there's a flashback.
If there's a flashback to tank, and that's how we get all our things.
He's got one of those in his little hut that we see in A New Hope. No way.
But say like Boba just like he gets a new one, so he like throws it out and like Obi-Wan sees it walking back one day. He's like, "Oh shit, look at that!" Actually, I don't know the timeline definitely does not match up with that.
Boba's in the future. Yeah,
but if all right. Flashback to tank shows up at all, I'm fucking out. Bob will have to run it with someone else.
Me and Jeff.
Yeah, or like Jose will just come on and take my spot.
Yeah. I think we're gonna get Darth Vader in like the second half of the show. I bet the first half is kind of like Inquisitors hunting him down. The rumors of that, all the trailer stuff we've seen is from the first 2 episodes, and then we'll get Darth Vader, maybe even Emperor Palpatine via hologram. Even the voice, I feel like it would be weird for Vader to like keep this a secret from Palpatine.
Yeah,
unless
they know that Obi-Wan escaped, right? There's not like Vader's
they know that Obi-Wan escaped. Obi-Wan doesn't know that Vader's Anakin, though. I think we're getting the moment where he figures out that Anakin is in the Vader suit and Anakin's alive basically in the show.
Does he know, but he knows him as Darth Vader, doesn't he?
No, I don't think he does.
He doesn't say, "My name is Darth Vader," and he doesn't say it like that. Hey, Obi-Wan, I am Darth
My new name is Darth Vader. Don't call me that. No, I don't think he knows that. Because I think it was Deborah Chow, the showrunner and director, said Obi-Wan thought he left Anakin for dead on Mustafar. He's going to find out in this show.
Oh, fuck, that's right. Yeah, I didn't think about it. Oh, yeah. I thought he said something that his name is Darth Vader in, like, the Jedi.
Maybe he said something like that, but Obi-Wan thinks he's dead, and then he figures out Darth Vader, like, exists.
I'm sure they're not just like, hey, this is Darth Vader. It's just that dude fucks people up. And because he's taller, too, because he has all the robot limbs, so it doesn't look like Anakin. You wouldn't think it's him. I'm thinking of basically Walt Jr. in Breaking Bad and being Flynn. And he's like, call me Flynn. Call me Darth Vader, Obi-Wan.
So he's got the Inquisitors to worry about. He's got Vader to worry about. Maybe even Maul, if we're looking at that.
No, confirmed. Darth Maul is in the
Ray
series.
Park is back.
It's going to be an unbelievable. The fight scenes that Darth Maul does, as they say, some of the best fight scenes in the history of Star Wars. If anyone wants to take that quote, tweet it. I'll retweet it. And then if it fucking, according to @Barstool Sports, and then blah, 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 hashtag My Mom's Basement, and you put the little YouTube link, I'll retweet the shit out of that. We'll get them fucking fake rumors going.
They did say the fights in this show are of the prequel style. They're like there's prequel style lightsaber duels in the show.
Nice.
I also think Obi-Wan will probably start the show without a lightsaber, right? Like we'll see him use the blaster a lot because it's a dead giveaway that you're a Jedi, dude.
Yeah, that's
in the middle of Order 66.
So much that you can't use the fucking lightsaber because it's like Jedi. It's fucking
lightsaber,
Jedi
the Force. Can't do fun party tricks with the Force anymore.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
None of that. I can't wait, though. I think this is going to be fucking awesome, especially for fans of the prequels like myself, people that grew up with the prequels. Just to see them back is insane. Yeah. Like, it's probably not as crazy to you to see Ewan McGregor back as Obi-Wan.
I'm excited. It's kind of a redemption thing for me. It's like I want to see him do well. I'm gonna admit this is coming from someone that I don't know how much are the Inquisitors in Clone Wars or just cartoons in general.
They're in Rebels a little bit, and they're in Jedi Fallen Order, the video game, a lot. That's who's hunting you down in that video game.
They don't do it for me just in the trailers. So I'm going in like, all right, you guys prove it to me, and hey, it can be done. It can. There's
some badass ones. The Night Sister is one, I think. Yeah, there's some badass Inquisitors.
Star Wars villains are always tricky because I guess when the first villain you ever met was the baddest motherfucker in like movie history. It's
his
hard.
Entrance to Vader's entrance in the beginning of that movie where he just walks through the hallway. Oh.
And again, anytime I get down about this show, and if Vader isn't showing up for a little bit, I'm just gonna think of Rogue One Vader coming in and slicing and dicing motherfuckers.
I think they said like the Vader in this is Rogue One times 10.
Oh, there's your fucking tagline right there. Sell that.
I also think we were talking about this. I think on a previous episode. We're probably going to see Vader either get his helmet damaged or half-head Vader where it looks like he's got the harmonica helmet on or just the bottom. Because why do you bring Hayden Christensen back if not?
Yeah, there's no reason to have you need the
They
face.
had different actors in Rogue One play him. You know, they had different actors play him going forward. So it's like you don't need him back unless you show him the face at some point.
Unless George felt really bad. Or I guess it would be George was like, get that motherfucker paid. Just give him an easy,
I could see Favreau being that guy. Being
right?
like, let's bring him. Favreau and Filoni being like, fuck it, let's bring him back. Let's do it. That was the unofficial preview show for Obi-Wan Kenobi. It debuts on May 27th, back to Friday release dates. So our first recap episode of Obi-Wan will be the following Monday. So we'll have that episode for you there. Thank you for everyone that tuned in, and we will see you when we talk about Obi-Wan.
Hell yeah. Give us in the comments. Give us the one thing you want to see in this series. On the YouTube comments, go in. Say the one thing you want to see in the Obi-Wan, whether it's, hardcore stuff from maybe the Clone Wars or it's just, Vader. Like, I just want to see Vader really do some fucked up shit. Like, just really fucking murk somebody. Because if that Rogue One times 10, that's an angry dude.
There's a Vader comic book where he gets his helmet taken off in the midst of battle, and a stormtrooper sees his face, and he just snaps the stormtrooper's neck because he saw his face.
Yes.
That's the Vader I want to see.
Metal Vader.
Metal Vader.